Success is never a good teacher. You will always learn more from your failures than your successes. If you're ever familiar with Serena Williams or even Steve Jobs' story, you'll know how much they failed just as much as you learned from their victories. The thing is, all successful people were once failures. None of them got it right the first time, and almost everyone doubted them at first. But they rose through their difficulties and built resistance, allowing them to become the person they are today. Jack Ma, the founder of e-commerce company Alibaba, once said that we shouldn't be learning from other people's successes. Instead, we should learn from their mistakes. Most of the people who fail share common reasons to fail, whereas success can be attributed to various different kinds of reasons. Basically, our failure plays an important role in our success and helps us get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Hi everyone, I'm Savanna and this is Mental Mondays with Savanna, a motivating, mental cleansing, and energy boosting podcast. I focus on how one can improve their mental health while helping you build a better mindset, better habits, and a better life for yourself. I'm a 15-year-old CEO, a passionate storyteller, and an optimistic dreamer who views the world through a different set of lenses. I came on here to share that unique view with you. My biggest hope is that my videos ignite a spark in you to seek your highest potential and so that you can live a life without limits. Let's dive into it. Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Mental Mondays with Savanna, and today we are on episode 18. So today's episode is all about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, and persistence is our guest star this week. But if you haven't already, subscribe down below, join the Mental Awareness family, where we focus on bettering ourselves and where every week we just dive into different topics that we all face, different problems that we all face, so we learn how to conquer these problems most effectively. Now let's get into this week's episode. So back in April, I applied for the Barron Prize, which is basically a program that celebrates inspirational youth from diverse backgrounds all across North America who are basically making a difference in their community. Now, the thing is, each year the Barron Prize picks 25 young leaders who have made a significant positive difference in their work of area and that they're doing. So naturally, I applied for this program. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been waiting for the results to come back because the program said that applicants would see if they were going to be picked as a winner or not in early September. So as you know, I've just been waiting, and I remember having this conversation with my dad as we were driving to the store one day. Now, I think it was late August or early September when it happened. And I think we somehow got on the topic of the Barron Prize since the results were coming out soon. And then he asked me, what would happen if you didn't make it on the Barron Prize list? And I honestly replied that I've actually thought about this situation many times, but then I came to the conclusion that if they rejected me this year, I wouldn't let it faze me and the work that I'm doing. And in fact, before me and my dad ever had the conversation about the Barron Prize in that car, I actually made a list of things that I would continue to do through Happy Heart Rises and the service work in my community, even if the Barron Prize accepted me or not. So in the end, in that car, I told my dad that if the Barron Prize accepted me, good for them, because then they would have the opportunity to be a part of this Happy Heart movement throughout California. And if they didn't, I would just move on to the next thing on my list, working 10 times harder to show them the mistake that they made. Now, a couple days later, my parents showed me a letter in the mail that came from the Barron Prize committee. We found out that I didn't get on the list, but for some reason, And I'm being completely honest, completely open. My heart never dropped. I never became sad. And I don't recall frowning or just being dissatisfied at all. In fact, my reply to my parents after reading the letter was, all right, let's work on the next thing. And then we went on from there. And to be honest, it took me a long time to get to that stage where I am now, and just to be responsible even if someone rejects me. It took me a long stage to get there. And you might think that this is coming from a resentful tone or a passive aggressive voice, but to be honest, it's neither. This is actually the first time where I didn't run away from rejection, but I embraced it. And that experience allowed me to strengthen me in all the things that I'm doing now. So I was able to grow from this experience, knowing that not everyone will accept me and my idea right now. But I understood that as long as I believe in the gift that I'm carrying and I know that it's valuable, what's the difference between an award gained or lost? Now, listen to this. There was once a little boy. This little boy also went through the same experience I had with the Barren Prize. The thing is, he often faced rejection. Now, we aren't talking about every year or every month or even every week. We're talking about every single day. Even so, this boy believed that everything was possible as long as you tried your best for it. Growing up, he had to face the edge of the knife more times than he was willing to count. He faced a series of closed doors, rejections ranging from his attempt to get into college, or when he was turned down for 30 different jobs. But somewhere along the line, his optimism began to get marred with experience. Refusing to get swayed, he adopted a new and more practical mantra over time. And that mantra was persistence is key. That little boy grew up to be none other than Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba. Now, in October of 2020, this e-commerce his company's value is now around $857 billion. Yet 30 years ago, he was making $12 a month while facing rejection everywhere he turned. Now, while Jack Small's story is definitely a rags to riches tale, his success was due to his relentless effort rather than just a lucky turn of events. Never give up. Today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be sunshine, he often said. And today, all of his work and persistence finally paid off. Jack Ma was recently announced the richest person in the whole of China, as well as the top billionaires of Asia. Now, the thing is, this success came at a price. Like many legends before him, Jack Ma refused to be told no. He always ran towards his own finish line no matter the challenges that were thrown at him, the rejections that he faced. And from a very young age, he realized that his failures and his weaknesses, and he learned to keep working on them until one day they became his strengths. Now, Jack Ma's childhood was filled with zeros on exams and last place statuses all the time. I feel like having the worst score in the class can really have an impact on any person's self esteem, making them feel completely worthless. But this was a constant experience for Jack Ma. I mean, he failed in multiple subjects in school, and he even failed the university exam twice before being accepted into another lower college. But the thing that set Jack Ma apart was how he handled the failure. He didn't follow society's culture and regulation, and he never believed that topping the class equaled to being intelligent or being driven. His mindset always allowed him to believe that his talent is not limited to the four walls of a classroom, and he always believed that his excellence lied outside of what teachers teach students in class. I feel like nowadays we always contribute having A's to being a smart student, and it's really degrading because when you notice all these really successful people, we see that some even dropped out of school, some people have bad grades, but the thing is their excellence didn't lie in what the teachers were teaching them. They had a different talent outside of that was still able to bring them success. And once Jack Ma graduated from college, he applied to 30 different jobs, but he was rejected from all of them. He probably faced more rejections in that single moment than we have all faced in our entire lifetime. And let me just say, if that was the average person, it would have definitely led to a breakdown of some kind. But for Jack Ma, the challenge had become a part of life. He managed to get a part-time job as a teacher from the university he graduated from. And I love what this one interview said about him. And it quotes, "While his pockets were practically empty, his heart was full of hope for the next step of his career." End quote. Even when Jack Ma created Alibaba in 1999, it wasn't a success just yet. You see, in the late 1990s, early 2000s, the Chinese economy wasn't built to support the e commerce industry. And in those times, his organization was believed to be a threat towards traditional businesses and also the government. So every step of the way, he had to fight off resistance from shopkeepers convinced that he was trying to put them out of business to government authorities who were suspicious of his business model. But soon enough, the company finally received support and encouragement along with the funding, the first step it took to becoming the force of change it is in the world today. But the important thing to remember is that Jack Ma never waited for approval from anyone to become who he was today. If he did, he would have been stuck in his youth, trying to be what everyone wanted him to be. Now, I think the key question is how can we have a Jack Ma mindset? I mean, how can we persist through the difficult times, through the rejections we face, and through the everyday trials that we are met with? So, the first tip of the episode is one, make rejection and failure a close friend, aka get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now, the first tip I have for today may seem like an ironic one at first glance. I mean, we're trying to conquer failure and rejection, so becoming a close friend may seem like the last thing that's on your mind. But I want you to stop and think about this for a second. Success is never a good teacher. You will always learn more from your failures than your successes. If you're ever familiar with Serena Williams or Steve Jobs' story, you'll know how much they failed just as much as you'll learn from their victories. The thing is, all successful people were once failures. None of them got it right the first time, and almost everyone doubted them. But they rose through those difficulties, and that's how they become known as the GOAT or the greatest of all time. But learning how they got back up and figured out the problem can help you speed up your own success. That's the key there. Now, rejection is Jack Ma's best friend. Rejection doesn't just pop up from time to time in Ma's life. It's constantly knocking, and Jack opens the door every single time. He failed his university entrance exam 3 times. He applied to 30 jobs when he was looking for work and was rejected from all of them, including a job at KFC, where 24 people applied and they hired everyone but him. He wrote to Harvard a total of 10 times, applied 10 times, and was knocked back every single time. But when an interviewee brought this topic up about his failed Harvard applications, he just replied, Maybe I should go teach there someday. Okay, first of all, you have to love that response. I mean, this man isn't phased one bit by rejection and is comfortable with getting uncomfortable. In fact, he also said that instead of learning from other people's success, we should make it a habit to learn from their mistakes. Most of the people who fail share common reasons to fail, whereas success can be attributed to various different kinds of reasons. So basically, our plays an important role in our success. The second tip is to stand up and take the initiative to make it happen. Jack Ma once said, if you've never tried, how will you ever know if there's any chance? End quote. I bet so many people have ideas that could change the world, including you who's listening to this episode right now, but are too scared to try and bring them to reality. Right now, you probably have an idea or goal that you think it's so big and you might feel like it's a waste of time. But in order to persist through the hard times, we gotta get over that first hurdle and eliminate the doubt to give it a shot. I would always try to do something and would rather fail than not doing it at all. Then I wouldn't have to live with any regrets and learn something from that experience. So even if I don't make it, at least I get to learn something from that experience and can apply it to the next time I try something else. And the last but definitely not least tip that I have is that at the end of the day, remember your why purpose. All that being said, I truly believe that the key to Ma's unwavering persistence and the reason why he kept going even after his friends, his family, even investors rejected him was because he understood and remembered his why purpose. Now, what do I mean when I say the phrase why purpose? Your why purpose is the reason why you started that job or the reason why you enrolled in that college course or the reason why you started that company. And it acts as your foundation for the rest of your work. The problem is, when you forget your foundation, your entire work becomes shaky during the stormy, unpleasant days. Jack once said, no matter how tough the chase is, you should always have the dream you saw on the first day. It'll keep you motivated and rescue you from any weak thoughts. Because Jack Ma continued to keep his mindset on his why purpose, he was able to stay encouraged through the dark days and when everyone was against him. He was able to keep his head up high after KFC rejected him and only him. He was able to keep on going after experienced investors shut his company's ideas down because he believed that he was carrying something valuable inside of him that no one else had. Jack Ma continued to remind himself about this fact so he was able to stay positive until the very end. And that's what sets him apart from everyone else because we aren't taught to do that. Instead of spending Jack Ma instead Jack Ma decided that instead of spending his energy on the temporary problems of the present, he looked towards the future for a sign of hope, always remembering why he started Alibaba in the first place. Now here's the thing. Success is not linear in any area of your life. Whether you're starting a business, losing weight, or trying to achieve any big goal, never forget why you started. Remind yourself of your why and your vision on a daily basis. This will help you to stay motivated throughout the tough times and keep your goals top of mind. Start each day by writing in a journal or creating a vision board to always see images of your goals daily. And also make it a habit to write down your why and why you started in the first place and put it everywhere to keep you motivated. So the quote of the day is none other than Jack Ma, and he says, if you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure. End quote. Now, giving up is the easiest path in life, but the least rewarding and the most crippling to your mindset, your dreams, and yourself. Remember that your dreams won't give up on you, but you choose to give up on them. Whenever you set any type of goals, temporary defeat and obstacles are inevitable. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're a failure. Just choose to persist, and if you keep going, you always have a chance to succeed. But quitting guarantees that you will never succeed. Now, Jack Ma has a classic rags to riches story, but what's more impressive than his wealth is his rare level of persistence. He's proof that no series of failures, despite how crippling, depressing they are, can keep someone from achieving their dreams. How we can achieve this mindset and start by building up our persistence is one, to make rejection and failure a close friend. Two, stand up and take the initiative to make it happen. And three, at the end of the day, remember your why purpose. As Jack Ma often says, the very important thing you should have is patience. Without it, you can never reach a fraction of your true potential, which someday could even change the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. You just listened to Mental Mondays with Savanna. Make sure you click the subscribe button to receive more positivity every Monday and join the fam. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week.